know.
MagMongoSlade. MagMongoSlade. MagMongoSlade.
AEW Dynamite. Actually, some good promos on this show. Otherwise, we're going to try to get through this as quickly as possible because I do need to go to sleep. Programming note, there probably will not be a live stream tomorrow night. I've been doing an insane number of live streams. I probably need to get some sleep. So it probably won't be a live stream tonight when you hear it. We'll probably get back to doing live streams on Sunday. All right, let's get into the news and notes. News note number 1. Apparently, Collision suffered a massive amount of losses, but the viewership was like 470 something thousand viewers. It is what it is. But there was a 20% decline in Collision following Tony Khan's announcement that CM Punk was fired. That means 20% of the viewers who left the show left after they heard that CM Punk was not going to be on the show. Well, that's a one-time decline. I can tell you that much. It's not like he's going to fire CM Punk every week. So he didn't have to worry about this being next week. Also, college football has begun. And also, WWE had a pay-per-view that night. So it stands to reason that a lot of people were probably intrigued about why Tony Khan was starting Collision. And then they turned the channel once they found out what it was. It doesn't necessarily mean that they were offended by what he said. Just that, oh, that sucks. You know, no need to watch this show anymore. But apparently, after reading the Observer newsletter, I think their overall numbers were almost the exact same as Rampage the previous night. And if they're just going to be getting Rampage numbers, certainly Warner Brothers should not be paying them a lot of money for this show. If they're just going to be getting Rampage numbers on a Saturday night. Very bizarre because Rampage is on at 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock. Also, note, Orange Cassidy did a profile of Orange Cassidy in Sports Illustrated, trying to pretend that Orange Cassidy is some big deal because the AEW fan base really likes him. This feels like they're still trying to make this Orange Cassidy thing happen. There were Sports Illustrated articles about Orange Cassidy 3 years ago. You know, they're still trying to get him over as a guy who's doing it his own way. This time, they're saying his character doesn't focus on promos. His character instead focuses on telling the story in the ring, which they're trying to act like it's some big revelation, which is typically how wrestling stories were told before promos became more prominent in the Attitude Era. Typically, you told your stories in the ring in the 80s and 70s and stuff. But in the promos, basically just supplanted or supplemented what you were doing in the ring. I don't really see that in Orange Cassidy, but whatever. Okay, top thing. This became a bigger deal than I expected it to, and that is Jim Cornette's comments about Mega Parek, the chief legal counsel of AEW. Him making he kind of alluded to her being friendly with the Young Bucks and maybe friendly with some of the talent. And even during the live stream when I first heard that, I said that I'm not sure that she's the person we want to go after in this situation. Namely, because I don't even know if she's ever a fan. I don't know what her connection to wrestling actually is. I think that it's wrong to just blame everything on her without knowing technically what we know what her job is, but we don't know how much she's into the weeds of the wrestling part. We don't know if she's friends with the wrestlers, if she knows the wrestlers. We don't know any of that stuff. So I do think that he's wrong. There's been a lot of people that have been running with the idea that Jim Cornette is a misogynist, which of course they already thought so. He's a racist. They already thought that too. But Christopher Daniels ended up coming out of nowhere. This is really what made it newsworthy, is that Christopher Daniels has not said anything about anything. But he did say something about this. He says, quote, "I've kept my mouth shut about a lot of things in the past year, but the unsubstantiated garbage I've read in the past day about AEW's chief legal officer is an embarrassment to anyone spouting it. Absolutely the last person who should be maligned in this situation." So they're actually going to stand up for Mega. which is fine. You know, again, unless we can prove that she's, you know, some kind of super fan, I don't agree with just going after random people in the office. As far as I know, she just works at a wrestling company. I don't know if she's a fan. I don't know what her relationship is with the Young Bucks. They said that, in Jim Cornette's defense, Mega was part of the team that went into CM Punk's locker room. I was about to say his office. I don't know if you would call it his office, but his locker room with the Young Bucks and all of these guys after Brawl Out last year. So the idea is that she was part of the marching band that came in there, and therefore she must be friends with them, rather than, you know, guys were saying crazy stuff in interviews. We want to make sure that management is here to oversee what's being said, and then she was, of course, there when the fight happened. So I don't know. I don't know what her role is in terms of Young Bucks, Tony Khan. It is what it is, but I don't know if she's a wrestling personality or a wrestling person at all. I don't think it's fair to even bring her up unless absolutely necessary. So if she's the one who called for CM Punk to be fired, it would make sense in a normie profession that you would fire the guy who keeps getting into fights. I mean, I know that we, as, you know, people who are fans of wrestling, and some of us, or a lot of us, are grown men who have been in the fights and have seen fights, but I have to take into account that Tony Khan, for starters, is soft. He also, this is a company run by normies. It's not a company run by carnies. A company run by, like, you know, people who grew up in the business, like Vince McMahon or whatever. They take this kind of stuff in stride. You know, people get into fights, they get into arguments. You know, sometimes guys get into fights more than once, and they get over it. But normies, they're not quite sure how to handle this. They grew up in the public schools. Well, probably not Tony Khan, but they grew up in the school system where you snitched, you didn't handle things yourself, you tattletold. Hey, he's picking on me, and that's how you handle a situation, rather than you front face lock a guy, or, you know, you punch him in his gullet or whatever. But that's how these people deal with things now, and I have to take that into account. So I look at it like she's a normie, and she's handling these situations like a normie would handle it. Let's get rid of the guy. Let's get rid of the problem. Speaking of which, that was Mark Henry's response, is that the so-called problem is gone, so there shouldn't be no more problems. I don't listen to Busted Open Radio. Interestingly enough, though, I got the feeling that Mark Henry said that, but he knew that the real problem is not gone. I got the feeling that he doesn't think that the real problem is gone. Anyway, let's get into this show. Let's get to some of the good stuff, but we don't start with good stuff. Orange Cassidy comes out there. He says that he was supposed to stay at home, but he won't, because he is Orange Cassidy and he does not have a catchphrase. He'll be there every week. The crowd is chanting, "Thank you, Orange." And I write down, thank him for what? What did he do? He had a bunch of random matches against AR Fox and that level of competitor. What else did he do? Did he save children from a burning building? Did he revolutionize something? What the hell did he do? Why are we thanking this guy? Especially having an ovation in front of probably a 2/3 empty building, which has been the case for like the last month when it comes to AEW. But chanted, "Thank you, Orange." I don't know what we're thanking this guy for. Anyway, Jon Moxley defeats AR Fox in the first match. AR Fox, every fucking match this guy has is a championship match of some sort. You think this guy was a top contender for any title in the company. How every time he appears on this show, it's a championship match of some description. What is it about AR Fox that Tony Khan likes so much? Anyway, obviously Jon Moxley wins. After the match, Darby Allin consoles AR Fox and raised his hand. Nick Wayne was backstage just kind of standing there. I don't know what he was doing. When he was approached by Christian Cage said that he went and watched some footage of, what was the guy's name? Bobby Wayne? Ronnie Wayne? Danny Wayne? What the hell is Nick Wayne's daddy's name? It don't matter. But he went and watched some footage of this guy, and he was worse than he thought he was. Nick Wayne stood there and just let Christian Cage say whatever it is he had to say about his daddy. Then he said that if he wanted a real mentor, a true mentor, he should look at the champion. And then says, "Say hi to your mom for me." Meanwhile, Darby Allin was stuck there as he was stuck in the middle. Like, should I go help Nick Wayne, even though nothing's happening to him except Christian's talking that shit to him? Or should I continue consoling grown-ass AR Fox, who just lost a wrestling match? Because, this guy almost never fucking wins anyway. So, bizarre. Very bizarre. This leads us to the main event, however. Nick Wayne versus Darby Allin. Why is this the main event? I don't know. I don't know. And I don't care about this match. I didn't care about this match at all. I started preparing to do this review while this match was on, so forgive me for not giving you any details, because it's babyface versus babyface. Did not care. I will say this, though. The finish was very brutal, where Darby Allin had his arms up and he was stomping him in the head. Kind of vicious for a babyface versus babyface finish. But Darby Allin wins the match. Christian just came out and watched. I'm guessing they're going to play this storyline where Christian's going to try to recruit Nick Wayne. He's going to try to bully Nick Wayne, or at least drive a wedge in between Nick Wayne and Darby Allin until Nick Wayne floats over to his side. Which, I don't know. Why do you want him? He seems like an underdeveloped youth. Why do you want that kid? I guess just for shits and giggles, I guess. Next, there was a TBS title open challenge, which I thought, okay, that might be interesting. It's Emi Sakura, who hasn't been on this show since Bush was in office. Wait a minute, that it couldn't be that long. That this company didn't exist back then. Let's see, since Trump was in office, she hasn't been on this show in years, literally years. Chris Statlander, big, strong, athletic. I didn't want to watch this though, so Chris Statlander wins. Roderick Strong, they're starting to do promos about his life. He talked about how crappy his parents were. They were drug addicts and alcoholics, so he took care of himself, and wrestling became an outlet for him where nobody cares about how much money he had or didn't have, and he wasn't being judged. Wrestling is his everything, and since he grew up alone, he will win this tournament alone. And he ended up defeating Trent Beretta in the Grand Slam tournament. I did not look at the bracket for the Grand Slam tournament. I'm so sorry. I just don't care. I thought about looking at the bracket, but then I realized, I looked at it and said, Mongo, when I was in the bathroom, I had to take a look. I was looking at the Mongo, do you really care about this tournament? No. I really don't give a shit. Are you interested in any way in this tournament? No, not really. So am I going to look it up? No. Am I going to review the bracket? No. Just no. It's just not worth it. So sorry. I'm half-assing it on this one. I don't care about that tournament at all. But Roderick Strong, he defeated Trent Beretta. Now, Roderick Strong, I will give him credit. He's been very entertaining lately. He's been yelling, Adam! Adam! That was his theme song. It sounded like it. It's just him screaming, Adam! Anyway, he screamed at Adam this time as Adam Cole was outside the ring consoling MJF. I'll explain why in a second. He wanted Adam Cole to stand in his corner for this match against Trent Beretta, but Adam Cole was like, I gotta go hang out with MJF. He's my best friend. So he tottered off with MJF into whatever medical bay or whatever the hell he had to go deal with. Meanwhile, Roderick Strong is wrestling with a broken freaking neck. So he took off his neck brace to wrestle this match. Took a tornado DDT, sold it like he had gotten hit by a car, which was excellent. He then proceeded to almost kill Trent Beretta with a backbreaker off a ring apron that looked nasty. And for a guy with a broken neck like Trent Beretta, probably not a good idea to keep doing the whiplash effect. But, I mean, it is what it is. I ain't no doctor. So, I'm as much of a doctor as Dr. Dre. In any event, whiplash probably not good for the neck and head. In any event, Roderick Strong wins with his suplex to the knees thing. It was what it was. But the part that popped me is that he put the neck brace back on. That popped me. When he wrestled with the neck, he took the neck brace off, wrestled the match, and then put the neck brace back on. That popped me. Now, they're telling the story, of course, of Roderick Strong and his family. NXT actually did this first. They did this in the year of our Lord 2015 or 2017, whatever year that Robert Roode was a champion for a long time, they did weeks and weeks of story about Roderick Strong and his family. Apparently, like, his mom attacked his dad, or his dad killed his mom, or something nasty like that. And they told this whole story that led up to him finally finding love and giving birth to his son. Well, he's not giving birth to his son, but Marina Shafir giving birth to his son, and all this kind of stuff. And they led you to believe that Roderick Strong was about to become the world champion in NXT, only for him to lose. And it seems like they're going to do the same thing here. They're going to tell us all about Roderick Strong's life, only for Roderick Strong to lose. Because there's a juicier steak on the barbecue. Next, Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara defeated Aussie Open. Didn't care about this either. I refuse to watch Aussie Open. They suck. Why are they on your roster? What are they good for? I don't know. The sex gods, supposedly. Yeah, right. Anyway, Chris Jericho hit Sammy Guevara by mistake during this match, which, even though they won, Sammy and Jericho ended up shoving each other after the fight because, well, Sammy's in a bad mood. He's deep in his feelings about something or other. Maybe it's because Jericho hit him by mistake. I don't know. But I can't tell if they're baby faces or heels. So I'm confused about how to react. Clearly, Aussie Open are heels. So are they baby faces by definition? I don't know. So is that Sammy Guevara pushing Jericho? Is that a heel move or a babyface move? We don't know. You know, this is the cure for the common show. We're going to grow beyond silly concepts as babyfaces and heels. We're just going to have intricate characters doing intricate things. And, you know, it's kind of like we're just going to have people doing shit. Babyface, heel, who asks those questions anymore? It's Sammy Guevara. He's doing him. Anyway, one of the bright spots on this show, a very, very, very small bright spot. Ricky Starks cut a promo in which he says that he made a point in wrestling Bryan Danielson that nobody can make him tap. Then he says, will there be time for him? Don't give me a slice of bread and say that I've been fed. I want a full course meal. He then said that when he leaves, he doesn't want anybody chasing behind him, trying to get him back. So he's threatening to leave. He's threatening to leave AEW. How many guys whose gimmicks are, I'm going to leave, and I'm going to get out of here, and I'm going to go back to WWE, or I'm going to go to WWE. I love Ricky Starks. He is tremendous. I think he's hit his stride, and he's very upset that CM Punk has been fired, and that seems to be his whole thing is, I'm tired of having to start over. I'm tired of being looked over. When are you guys going to pay attention to me? And they still didn't give him a lot of time on this show. I get it. Collision is probably where Ricky Starks is going to shine. But I'd have put him on this show, too. I guess they just had to, tease you. He had to say something, I guess. Don Callis and Takeshita, they've been bragging about beating Kenny Omega twice in 7 days. So they're going to unveil their next target next week when they unveil their celebration in their new art piece. Because the Don Callis art pieces, they rule, by the way. They're very good. That thing with him and Takeshita is nasty. It's great. It's so silly. I love the Don Callis art pieces. They're very good. All right, MJF is out there. He's boring everybody being a babyface, talking about, when I lived in right here in Indiana. I'm like, this sucks. Thank God he got saved by Samoa Joe coming out there, asking him, what's the problem, kid? They went back and forth a little bit before Joe finally asked him what the problem again for a third time, calling him kid. MJF got frustrated with him being called kid. Then he made some fat jokes referring to Samoa Joe as, you thought my music was the ice cream truck. To which Samoa Joe says, the last time I was involved with an ice cream truck, I was the biggest star on the other company's network. I guess he's talking about being Sweet Tooth on Twisted Metal. I have not heard that show was very successful. I'm very interested in how that show performed in terms of viewership, but I haven't heard anything. But it's him putting himself over. Also, it's a nice little dig considering he was cut out of the commercials for Twisted Metal. When WWE did the commercials, they specifically cut Samoa Joe out of them. Seems very petty, so this is kind of a fair attack on them. So then MJF started more fat jokes, calling him Samoa Joe, Pillsbury Joe Boy, all these sorts of things. Then said that Samoa Joe is trying to skip the line, but he's got to win the tournament in order to get a match with MJF. Then MJF had a story time in which he told the story of how he became a security guard in NXT, and Samoa Joe pushed him against a brick wall when he was only 19 years old. He was being bullied by Samoa Joe, and said that Samoa Joe did it because he thought he could get away with it because he was just a kid. Samoa Joe's like, nope, I did it because you a little bitch. So then MJF smacked Samoa Joe, and Joe was like, you trying to get me to react. But nope, I'm going to win this tournament first, and then I'm going to get this match with you. And then as soon as MJF turned his back, Samoa Joe attacked him. They fought a little bit before Joe dropped MJF on his neck with that Uranagi that he does in the corner. And since they've been selling MJF's neck for a little while, or his neck and shoulder area, he sold it like he had gotten hit in the, I'm about to say, I can't use the same joke twice. I was about to say it's like he was in a car accident. I can't use the same joke twice. What's a better one? They got hit in the head with an anvil. Let's put it like that. So he laid there crying and whining, and Adam Cole came out there to help him like he was in labor or some shit like that. So MJF versus Samoa Joe. I like it. I love it. Want more of it. It's pretty clear that Samoa Joe is going to win this tournament. I do know that he's wrestling Jeff Hardy and is going to be on Rampage. That sucks. We got Trent Beretta and Nick Wayne on this show, but Jeff Hardy, well, he hasn't earned the right to be on Dynamite yet. He got caught drunk driving or whatever. He has to pay his penance on Rampage. I'm just looking at that like, man, I thought you was trying to get viewers on these shows. Even though Jeff is a bit of a fuck up, people would tune in for Jeff. Right? They tune in for Jeff. People love Jeff Hardy. He's like our drunk cousin. We watched him grow up. I definitely would have put Nick Wayne on Rampage. I would have put Trent Beretta on Rampage, but that's just me. I'm thinking of putting stars on the show, not just putting guys who are friends with the Elite on the show, or people who are friends with Darby Allin on the fucking show. That's just me, though. But Samoa Joe versus Jeff Hardy, not interesting enough for me to watch Rampage, but if it was on this Dynamite, I would have been happy. Unfortunately, they didn't decide to do that, so since they don't care, I don't care. But Samoa Joe clearly should win this tournament. They're doing a good job with the tournament in so much that Roderick Strong also has a very strong incentive. Did you catch it? Has a very strong incentive to win the tournament because he wants to embarrass Adam Cole by winning the world title from MJF. But also, Samoa Joe has a strong incentive to win the title because he's in a direct feud with MJF. I'm thinking Samoa Joe versus MJF is probably going to end up being the match. That's the right move to go with. And I'm saying, fuck it, put the belt on Joe. I know people are going to be like, don't do it. You got to make the new guy. You got to make the new star. MJF is pretty much wading in the water as the world champion right now. Ain't that much going on. We could use Samoa Joe as world champion right now. I mean, Joe is just top tier shit. This guy's good. And I know MJF is good too, but he's doing the tag team thing. Let that be that. But that was a great segment. One of the two great segments on this show. All right, next, Toni Storm was with Renee Paquette, where she pretended she didn't understand and didn't remember screwing Ruby Soho out of the TBS title. And then she said she must look forward, not backwards. Then they said something about some women's fatal four-way eliminator, and I was like, they're doing that again. Fatal four-ways again. Okay. Anyway, Toni Storm says chin up, tits out, and watch for the shoe. The performance was not that great this week, if we're being honest. It seems very campy and cartoonish this week. She probably needs a better producer. In any event, she threw a shoe at Renee Paquette. It was entertaining at the very least. But they're waffling on her turning face, which I really questioned when they did it. Like, why would they do that? All right, so great segment coming up. Hangman Page and Swerve Strickland. So Hangman Page comes out there talking about winning the charity battle royal, and he starts going on about a 10-20 second rant about how teachers are underpaid and they're the real heroes and all this kind of crap. And how he used to be a high school teacher. I could just imagine how many high school students was pushing this guy into the lockers and giving them wedgies. And I'm talking about when he was a teacher. He's probably like that Samuel L. Jackson in 187. Are you finished? Are you done? Your flanges. Could you imagine this fucking guy showing up to your classroom with a man bun? Man, every 14-year-old and within 100 miles will take a chunk out of his ass. Anyway, Swerve comes out there to save this segment because he was really good. Before we get into Swerve being really good, Prince Nana, him dancing to Swerve's theme song, excellent. He's been doing it for a while, but it was particularly entertaining this week. So, Prince Nana, he introduces Swerve Strickland, and Swerve goes straight he says he was in a coffin for 2 weeks. And when he was in a coffin for 2 weeks, he had time to clear his mind, to think about some things. So he thought about Hangman Page when he got out. And he says, what are you the mascot for AEW? You're trying to win money for the Chicago educational system. It's full of dropouts. That's very humorous. That's very humorous. At one point in time, that might have been facts. I think they're actually doing okay in terms of retaining the students now, but I don't want to go down that track. Then he starts talking about Hangman Page being a franchise player. They built this company around him, but it seems like he lost his confidence. He lost his smile because he doesn't have any singles matches. He has no title matches. He's got a new contract extension, so he's been eating good, and it shows. He's been getting all these opportunities, but he acts like he doesn't want them. So he's going to give Adam Page two options. One, he can ride off into the sunset and let Swerve have that spot. Or two, he can pony up. He can man up, show some confidence, and fight Swerve for that spot. So, Adam Page, for some reason, turned into a real bitch and basically just walked away from Swerve. So then Swerve says, it's so unfortunate that your wife and child have to see you walk away from your responsibilities. So then he gets angry and comes back. He starts yelling at Swerve off mic, and then he gets attacked by Brian Cage, and they beat the hell out of him. So they re-energized Hangman Page via Swerve Strickland. I gotta say, that Swerve promo, it was excellent. It was very good. It hit very close to home. It touched on some situations that I wasn't even paying attention to. The fact that Hangman Page hasn't even had a singles match on TV in a long time. I don't know if it's like him gaining weight. I haven't paid that much attention to it. But the fact that Hangman Page took a backseat, but that was over a year ago, and that was for obvious reasons. Because he had gotten into it with CM Punk and went off script. And again, since Punk is gone, it's time to reinsert everybody that Punk was having problems with. So now we see the reestablishing of Hangman Page. Fine. I guess you have to do something. All right. But this feud works. Swerve is pissed because he doesn't get a lot of opportunities. Meanwhile, Hangman Page gets a lot of opportunities, but he takes them for granted. So Swerve is like, look, you got this spot as the franchise player in AEW. You could give that to me, or we could fight over it. And to me, I like that. It's very aggressive. Something that a heel would genuinely be upset about. It feels to me like Swerve and Ricky Starks have the same character, and that's probably an issue of people not paying attention, because they both are saying the same thing. We want opportunities. You should be giving us opportunities. Stop, giving us a little bit here and there, and then saying, okay, we did something. They want a sustained push, a sustained opportunity to be world champion, to be a top guy, to be in championship matches, etc., and they're not getting it. So on Dynamite, you're going to have Swerve doing it. On Collision, you're going to have Starks doing it, but it's essentially the same character. That's the only criticism I got of it, really. Swerve has been doing a really good job. Hangman Page, I will suffer through it because Swerve is really good. I really don't care about Hangman Page. He's the third member of the Young Bucks as far as I care about. I don't care about that guy at all. So, that's Dynamite. The Samoa Joe MJF promo, very good. Specifically, it got good when Samoa Joe came out and took over. Same thing with Hangman Page and Swerve. It wasn't until Swerve came out there that the promo actually lifted and made any sense. I didn't care about any of the matches on this show because why would you? Why would I give a fuck about Aussie Open, AR Fox, or Nick Wayne? I don't give a fuck about none of these people. Amy Sakura? Why would I care about her? Why is she on this show? I don't know. But I'm interested in the Joe feud with MJF. I'm interested in the Swerve feud. I'm actually more interested in Swerve's forward progress than the feud with Hangman Page. And this tournament, to me, it's interesting only so much as it's probably going to end up with being Joe and Strong, which are both heels. So I wonder how that's going to work out. But overall, though, Samoa Joe versus MJF for the world title in New York, that sounds like it'll be fun. It sounds like it'll be dope. What do you guys think? Like, share, subscribe. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.